lay the issue to rest?
Well, we should start off, I guess, by defining what is a monument.
Okay.
A monument, defined by one of the folks in Department of Interior, a head official, defines it as a geographic area on a map. You just draw a box around it. That's it. The president signs over it, and it is declared a monument. The authority that is given the president to do so is the Antiquities Act of 1906. What we have done is we've gone to our councils here as well and asked them, what is the intent of the Act of 1906? The intent of that act is to set aside land or an area in its current state in perpetuity. All right, so you can't touch it. The intent is to set it aside because of its historic value, of its rarity, things like that. So you want to leave it alone the way it is. Now we look at what do we want here? We want access. We want access to the resource, be it fisheries, be it minerals. We want access, and declaring it a national monument will deny us that. The current management that we have works, and being part of some proponents will say, well, what's the big deal? It's taking it from one federal agency to another, meaning from Westpac to, say, the National Marine Sanctuary Program. Well, there is a big difference. In the Westpac, CNMI as a whole has a voice, and we, in our participation, manage from 0 to 200 miles of the EEZ. If this and the process, there are so many people and agencies and industries that are involved with the process of Westpac. Folks that provide the advice to the council members. They range from industries, tour companies, even the environmental groups here, like MENA, is also part of the process, and the regulatory agencies are part of it. So it's even the traditional practitioner is also part of that decision making. You take that away and you put it under the Park Service or the sanctuary program, and maybe you have 3-4 people who are involved. No more is that very much involvement from everyone else in the community that comes to the table and say, hey, this is what we're seeing. Here's our concern. Please consider. And it goes through the NEPA process as well. There's public hearings,
consultations.
And, absolutely, all that stuff. And then at the end of the process, a decision is made. For example, the community here have seen how Persane is very damaging to the environment, to the fishery, to the resource. They've come to the Westpac Council meetings and things like that, and they've raised this concern. What do we have now? After many months of putting it through the process, CNMI is no longer allowing Persane fishery because of many reasons. They have lots of bycatches. You have whales, you have turtles, you have things like that that get caught in the big net that scoops them up. So, as far as management is concerned, we have it, and they've seen it. They've seen the product,
and it's working.
And it's working.
The existing management practices,
absolutely,
and stewardship are working.
Right.
Okay. What are we? So, in addition to that, how are we protecting and obviously, I'm being a devil's advocate here because of rebuttal, no? Pew obviously is promising. Just yesterday in the headlines, it says that the economic study is that it's going to be $333 million of of economic benefits and employment and protection and whatnot. What is it that we are not doing that they are proposing to do alternatively? And my point is, what's working now, and can you give us a few more examples to drive the message home? And therefore, let's just put the proposal to rest.
But John,
it's working now.
The newspaper study report said 333 million. Why not 500 million? Why not 1 billion? Show me the money. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that is presented by that study that's specific to the source of that money, the time of that money, or that even that money is a possibility. Anything other than a possibility. It also says there will be 400 jobs. What 400 jobs? Doing what? In what location? It also says that there will be 8,000 new tourists. Wow! From where? How? When? And it says every year, beginning when? For several years. How long will that be? The way it's presented, and I mentioned earlier that there's a marketing, not an education that's going on. And many of our people saw that and says, oh my, we are rejecting $333 million. Smoke and mirrors. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Now, in the CNMI government and with this administration, there are procedures that we are following and strategies to indeed get the economic benefit from that area. Included in the paper yesterday was also news reports about geothermal development in the Northern Islands. That was also there. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that, Pew. Let's talk about the resources that you would prevent us from getting if you establish a monument up there. Let's talk about that. That's not being presented.
Mm. Okay.
Well, John, I also
Frank.
like to ask if if that is in fact the case, then there's 333 million to be realized. I'd like to ask if that is what's happening in Hawaii, in the Hawaiian Northern Island
experience.
Yeah. But I'd also like to clarify. Perhaps I don't want to be misconstrued in what earlier I mentioned earlier about the fact that we do believe in preservation and conservation. We also believe in sustainable use of our resources. And you ask whether there's examples on how we've effectively managed these. I, for one, was involved in the community public meetings to ban gill nets in our lagoon.
Mm.
And
Through Westpac, no?
Through Westpac, yeah. But actually it was through Fish and Wildlife. It was through yeah.
No, this was a local one.
It was a local one, and I can see the results of that. In many of the surveys that have been conducted, I feel that we can do these effective management of our resources here. I don't see the need for others to come in and inform us that here's the best way to do it. And the fact of the matter is, in the Northern Islands, the proponents would say that who goes up fishing up there, and what about these manganese mining and whatnot? Has there been surveys of that nature for us to review? Has anybody done those? But if we do go through this monument and support this monument, we won't have that have that opportunity to even look into those matters, whether we can make use of fishing and whatnot.
Well, what gave rise to this issue to begin with? I mean, you are all the resource agencies. You're all mostly federally funded, if not all wholly federally funded. You are doing your jobs per our CNMI Constitution, per regulations, per local statutes, as well as federal promulgated regulations and mandates of each of your mother agencies, if you will. Why do you think this issue is now,